roll song.
The video then cuts to some of the many times Aaron has said the N-word in the past, as well as Susie when quoting Aaron saying it. A more complete compilation is this one that is 5 minutes in length, titled Game Grumps N-word Compilation. It has racked up triple the number of views of the aforementioned video. It was around this time that Ellis Mark released a video critical of the game Grumps, with Ellis Mark's character placed in a guillotine, understanding the flack he was going to get for making this video.
I think it's pretty obvious that game Grumps, to me...
It's just too bad that this guy has the voice, the accent of, like, an alien pretending to be human.
...series, that is on its last leg with a dwindling viewership, which I think is entirely down to oversaturation. They used to upload 3 times a day, and big surprise, not everyone wants to watch 30 minutes of Aaron screaming like a child every 24 hours.
Rip being Irish. I don't care. Find a different accent, guys. Learn to speak English, come on. Just because you're Irish doesn't mean you can sound like a fucking alien, okay?
I'm gonna quickly compare Game Grumps to another very similar Let's Play channel, Oni Plays. Oni Plays was created by...
Oh yeah, I don't think that Ellis Mark disclosed the fact that I'm pretty sure Ellis Mark was like friends with, or at least was in their social group at the time when he was talking about Oni Plays, but whatever.
Old friend of Aaron's, Chris O'Neill.
It's not racism! Irish people are not a different race, okay? They're a different nationality, alright? They're white just like me, it's free game.
And he manages to do what Aaron could never accomplish, be funny.
Doesn't look like he did.
Constantly work off each other, hitting the viewer with joke after...
Remember this guy's shitty pilot? Don't remind me. I don't think Ellis Mark is a bad guy. I don't even really give a shit about his controversy all that much.
Joke after joke and are completely aware that they're just stupid Let's Players.
The main host of Oni Plays at the time were Chris O'Neill, Ding Dong, and Julian.
Oh no.
Chris appearing in the video was standard as it was his Let's Play channel. Just like Aaron, Chris was an animator from New
Yes! The Maroney song, it's based. It's good, I gotta add it to the playlist.
One that collaborated with Aaron as well as various other well-known animators from the website. Their approach to their Let's Play channels are far different. Aaron, through Game Grumps, takes a strict approach. He releases videos daily with a single co-host.
Yeah.
This in itself will guarantee exhaustion and a lower quality of video, as having the same 2 people force a conversation over the course of several years, will more often than not have conversations devolve into nonsense.
You're fine, Bowser, you're fine.
What's more, the strictness of seeing Let's Plays through makes Aaron frustrated at a game he does not have interest in, which worsens the viewing experience. Oni Plays, especially in its most recent episodes, has a changing cast of guests, most of which are recognizable, but at times exist away from the channel, which means when they do appear again, they may have more interesting opinions or stories to share. Rarely does the channel dedicate itself to a complete Let's Play, as they will play it either until the guest leaves or the interest of the host who plays said game has left.
Yeah.
Oni Plays is far more relevant to the story of Game Grumps than drawing the comparisons of channels.
Damn, I'm throwing it back.
But if Aaron is anything like how the stories I've heard describe him, then it doesn't surprise me how many people have joined and left Game Grumps. Like how supposedly after 2 of the hosts, Ding Dong and Julian, from Oni Plays said that the game they were funding was pandering.
Oh yeah.
Which it was. Aaron bumped up their office rents, basically forcing them to move out.
This new wave of hatred toward the Game Grumps and Aaron Hansen is what possibly caused this infamous tweet chain. It starts with Aaron listing off the 5 jobs he's had, from working at Blockbuster to becoming the owner of an entertainment company. To this, a Twitter user responds, quote, "Entertainment company? Uh-huh, yeah, sure," unquote. Aaron retorts, quote, "We produced over 6,000 episodes of the 4th most watched gaming show in NA. Co-produced a 6-episode serial with Dan Harmon, produced 2017's second best-selling indie game, produced 3 #1 Nielsen charting comedy albums, multi-million views."
Jesus Christ, yeah. Aaron entering his, like, bragging phase. Like, oh my god.
6 episodes reality series.
Yeah, he called it like an entrepreneur, he called himself an entrepreneur.
Unquote.
Negativity sort of...
Or like an entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying?
It at least gets to me when it sort of taps into something that's going on with me. Then I'm like, oh, that hurts. Because it sort of reinforces this idea that, like, other people think what I think about myself, which is negative.
This could explain Aaron's response, especially during this period of negativity around him. As a counter to this, the subreddit Positivity Grumps was established on April 30th, 2000.
Positivity Grumps. Guys, we gotta counteract the negativity.
2019, but it did not take off and
Of course not.
currently sits at
There's one soldier left carrying out the good fight. Fight on, champion, fight on.
217 members. The Iran Grumps subreddit, however, was getting increasingly more popular with its 8,200 members. Even so, the actual Game Grumps subreddit towered above it all at 196,000 members, though it was just as critical towards Aaron during this time. Then, on May 3rd, 2019, Super Mega announced they were leaving the Game Grumps.
Yeah, I remember that.
Coincidentally, the same day, Chris O'Neill tweets a two-letter word, ha. The responses are mostly referring to Super Mega leaving.
God. Chris is me. Like, he and I kind of handle shit like that the same way, where we want to stay out of drama, but we do, like, take silent satisfaction out of watching people we dislike get shit on.
7 days later came the announcement of Ben.
So now we have the delightful new Ben. Ben, say hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, God. I remember all the fucking editors and the overhiring that they did.
There were some growing pains. While some may think the job of an editor is to stitch together clips, their job is far more important and often less understood if
Yes.
done well.
Well, I mean, you're right.
They are gatekeepers, knowing what to throw away and what to keep, knowing what tone to take with any which section of a video. They are meant to amplify and not distract, the latter of which is what Ben was doing. This is Dan's solo Let's Play of King's Quest IV. This is a very slow and quiet game. It complements Dan's relaxed demeanor and is something viewers could relax or even fall asleep to, only to be woken up by Ben's editing.
Ben will cut back in once I've found that unicorn. Here we go.
Yeah, it was like, the editing was so bad. Like, it was so antithetical to what the video itself was trying to accomplish. Like, there was so much bad editing going on. Everybody hated this editor, dude. Also, is that Susie? That's Susie? No, not that Susie. A different Susie.
There we go.
Like, that transition is so bad. Like, just because you can edit something a certain way doesn't mean you should, okay? Okay.
The comments that discuss Ben's edits in this video are displeased with the disruptive nature of it. That's why someone uploaded a version of this Let's Play absent of Ben's edits,
Sorry,
titled King
I'm a greedy
Quest
bitch.
IV Stop at Ben. The displeasure with Ben wasn't even at its maximum. This is a 2017 Instagram post of Ben with Jacob Sartorius. Then, this is a 2019 tweet of a picture of an around 16-year-old Jacob Sartorius. Ben continued to tweet at Jacob.
What? What?
Getting reprimanded by Twitter for tweeting at him, quote, "Let's do meth and drive off a
Oh,
cliff,"
wait, sorry, hold on.
unquote. This came to a head late 2017 when Ben tweeted, quote, "Is it okay to request a 17-year-old male YouTuber post nude
What? Oh.
to the timeline if it's a joke," unquote. It wasn't until later that Ben was getting flack for these strange tweets. Yet he persisted. Until it became too
What?
much and he apologized. Ben, in his Reddit post, apologizes and explains his initial chance picture and following tweets were a combination of messing with a young family member who was a fan of Jacob Sartorius, alongside ramping up his character-driven Twitter account that is part of a comedy rap group that quote-unquote trafficked in edgy humor. It was not until later that he realized his jokes were not being taken as such, and thus came his apology and explanation. As for the Grumps, in mid-2019, they were getting flack for a different reason. They were trying to stop swearing in a bid to not get demonetized or lose favor of the algorithm. Fans were not pleased that there was no official post of this. This was part of a grander issue of poor communication and frustration towards their community manager, Allie, as the only place
Oh,
this
yeah.
was announced was in the middle of an Undertale Let's
See, Allie, I didn't like Allie. Allie is fine. Like, as a person. She seems fine as a person, but the way that she was so, like, integrated into Game Grumps, where, like, she would show up and, like, in live streams and, like, talk in them, and it's like, you're the community manager, you're not a host. Stay in your lane. But they just wouldn't do that. They wouldn't draw those boundaries. It was a big fucking party, and everyone's invited.
Display.
For those of you who
Ugh, don't remind me of their fucking Undertale display.
are wondering, we're trying to not swear anymore.
While this is
Guys,
relatively innocuous,
we're trying to not. That was the whole point of your fucking YouTube channel, bro!
as far as criticism goes, what made it matter was just one day after critiquing the lack of communication from the Grumps was the mishandling of the Grumps garage sale.
Oh, the garage sale. Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Back here and come on down to Game Grumps garage sale this weekend, the 29th and 30th. Wow!
This Reddit post alleges that they had 800 RSVP'd, likely through the Facebook event post that is no longer available. The issue present here is that those people did desire to attend a free event.
So basically, he doesn't seem to explain it very well, but like basically, they hosted a garage sale where the idea behind it is that they were running low on money. I wonder why. It could have been the amount of overspending and overhiring they did for their business, quote unquote. They hired way too many people, and they spent way too much money, like, beautifying their office into, like, essentially, like, an over-glorified man cave. And so they like, spent all their money. The income wasn't as good as it used to be, so they were like, they just needed to liquidate a bunch of shit. Alright. And, they were like, let's just do a big old garage sale where they sold... They ended up selling... Well, he'll probably get into it here. Did anyone show up? Oh yeah, a lot of people showed up to it. And that was part of the problem. He'll probably go into it.
And it is harder to measure an event that is not capped by tickets. It took only a few hours for a line to build up due to...
I think that's not footage of the actual thing, by the way. That just looks like stock footage.
A venue that could only serve a fraction of those people at a time. It got so bad that Vernon, an employee of the Grumps, was going around giving water to people.
Yeah, so they had a garage sale in, like, the middle of, like, the California summer. Like an outdoor garage sale. And there was a huge line, and they had to start passing out water.
Waiting in line. The event was not entirely organized inside either.
Nope.
Quote, I showed up at 8 a.m. I got in line for merch the moment I walked in because it was required to buy merch to get a signing. But lines were all over the place. They were only there from 10 to 12, and they kept the line at 11:15. Maybe next time don't sound so condescending, unquote. This was in response to a tweet that was in defense of the Grumps that in turn was part of the Grumps post announcing, quote, unfortunately we went way over capacity today and we will not be open tomorrow, unquote. Aaron quote tweeted this response with additional information. Quote, I want to apologize to everyone who couldn't make it, was planning to come Sunday, or was after the cap, unquote. In the thread, Aaron explains that they worked at a similar event and the capacity was not so bad. Thinking the numbers would be similar had them underestimate how many people would show up.
Yeah, it is like TanaCon. I'm pretty sure it happened the year after TanaCon.
The garage sale
and a lot of people were like making comparisons to TanaCon.
Lines were so long that they wrapped around the building. As such, the Game Grumps got a call from the city informing them that it was akin to running a parade without a permit and a huge safety hazard. This is why they had to start turning people away and...
Yeah, because people were getting fucking heat stroke.
And why the city canceled the second day. Finally, Aaron...
Villa, I love pangolins so much.
...commits himself to improve. Quote, this sort of thing won't happen again, and we're already thinking of how to do this better, unquote. There were a few more hiccups that people took displeasure with. Like this fan who found the game he gifted being resold with a note the fan wrote still inside, implying that the game was never opened.
Yeah, so a fan went to this garage sale and they found a game that they personally gifted to the Game Grumps with a personalized letter inside, and they were just like selling that back to fans. So they hadn't even opened it. Probably not, I don't know. So it was just pretty like... I think the fan themselves didn't like take it too personally. I think they kind of laughed it off at the end. But a lot of other people were like, what the fuck? Yeah, I remember that.
But the fan clarifies that he is not insulted by this. though some were insulted by Aaron selling figures that were from a
He says, I'm happy it made its way back to me. Well, yeah. At least it didn't get sold off to some rando. Now you can keep it and give it to someone who actually gives a fuck. But this one, this next one was, like, more outrageous to a lot of people.
not insulted by this, though some were insulted by Aaron selling figures that were from a deceased friend. But others saw
So Monty was the guy who created the Ruby franchise, and he died of cancer. He gifted, like, Ruby figures. Like, he personally gifted Ruby figures to Aaron, and then Aaron was selling them cheap to, like, fans at a garage sale. Like, that's how desperate they were for money, I guess. But it's like, Jesus Christ. Like, I know you can't hold on to everything in life, but, like, Jesus, like, those are from somebody who died, who gave them to you as a gift. It's like, it's gotta be like, it's like, is it not sacred?
it as selling these figures to someone who would appreciate them more. A possible reason for this garage sale was because the Grumps were moving offices.
Will the new office be as decorated as the old one? No.
Monty's writing wasn't amazing. He wrote cool fights, but they absolutely ruined Ruby when he died. Yeah.
Oh. It was very expensive.
Gee, The Office was expensive? Who would have guessed? That it would have been expensive. And the upkeep would have been a nightmare. In California, no less.
Not a good idea. Because it's not ours anymore. See, the new buildings, it belongs to us. But the office we were in, we were renting.
This move came with a new channel, known simply as the Grumps.
Hey everybody, what the heck are
I didn't know about this. This is probably way after I stopped watching them. So all of this is new shit. There's also a lot of stuff that June the Keen just kind of glossed over and didn't cover. Like the fact that Ding Dong got like an insane amount of harassment to the point where like his family, like it was fucked up, okay? Let me just like, I know Ding Dong is kind of he's kind of bitch made and doesn't like talking about it. And he tries to shut people down from talking about it. Like, but it was kind of fucked up what they did to him. So he complained about Dream Daddy and said it was like pandering, right? And then other like staff from Game Grumps went on Twitter. Oh, it's in the video later on? Okay, I'll let him explain it then.
you seeing right now? It's a channel trailer!
My name is Dan Avedon.
And I'm Aaron Hansen, and this is the Grumps.
This
I thought because he mentioned it earlier, he wasn't going to mention it again. My
would
bad.
host 10-minute Power Hour and would also host any in front of the camera videos they wanted to do. The Game Grumps channel will continue to host Let's Plays and animations. On that topic, there was a particular animation that Aaron was not a fan of.
Yep. I remember this one. This one
On
was
July
funny.
30th, 2019, animator Senor Bello premiered a video satirizing Storytime animators. This uses the avatars and styles of popular animators that tell of relatable and often innocuous stories through the medium of animation.
It's a story time! I wonder if he's gonna show the Twitter videos that Palo made in response to the controversy. Those were also funny.
Wow! That is relatable!
They're fun, and the story of Senor Bello
Yeah, the video wasn't even that mean. And it even, like, I think one of the Storytime people even cameoed in it, voicing a different character. So, like, obviously people were chill with it. Like, Aaron was the only one who had an issue with it, and he wasn't even in it. He wasn't even mentioned.
Bello's video is then ruined by channels that are more critical on YouTube, as a counter to the innocent nature of Storytime channels. Some of the top comments from this video are from Storytime channels depicted, appreciative of Bello's adaptation
Yeah, so a lot of them were just like, haha, this is funny.
of their animation style and Bello's overall approach to the subject matter. Pella posted about this video on Twitter, to which Aaron responded, quote, "This is mean."
This is mean. This is where the meme comes from. This is mean. Guys, this is bullying.
I got made fun of like this all the time when I made cartoons, and it fucking sucked.
So, this actually lends me, like, this raises a lot of questions of, like... Because, like, Aaron keeps referring to, like, him being bullied, right? But it's like... And then he compares Halo's video, which is like the most lighthearted shit you could imagine. The most lighthearted, nonsensical roasting ever that everyone seems to be okay with. And he compares what he experienced on Newgrounds to that. It makes me wonder, was his bullying that he keeps referring back to really all that bad? If it can be compared to this. Like, is he just overblowing it for the sympathy points? That's what I'm wondering.
It didn't give me a thick skin, or make me a better artist, or make me think about what I was doing. It just hurt.
Ooh.
The fact that all the people patting you on the back for this cartoon are old school Newgrounds types, with very few quote-unquote STAs, commenting speaks volumes.
STAs.
You can use this thread to
What the fuck does STA mean?
pretend it's all in good fun. But it's not fun. It's mean.
It's
It hurts.
mean.
Unquote. Aaron goes on to say that this video only segregates. Fellow responded in surprise.
These kids who are all creating, sharing themselves, and trying to find a way to belong. This video only serves to segregate two groups of individuals. Invoking the idea of segregation. Okay, alright. Cool. Get on your soapbox while you're at it. Both primarily populated by people who desperately want to connect with one another. Yeah, and they did, dumbass. You know how a lot of them, like, connected, like, through this video? A lot of them were like, hell yeah, this is funny. I like your shit. And a lot of them would end up, like, collaborating with Senior Palo, I think. Super targeted assholes.
And stated he did not mean harm, and the last thing he wants to do is hurt. He even
So Palo responds, wow, Aaron, wow, Aaron. Well, I seriously didn't mean any harm with this. I don't mind them making their stuff. Yes, it's with jokes and stuff, but the last thing I want is to hurt. I even watch Storytime Animators. That's what it's short for. Okay. Wait, what does he mean? Wait, what?
types, with very few quote-unquote STAs, commenting.
But they were commenting on it. They were especially commenting on it after this. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, Aaron?
Speaks volumes. You can use this thread to pretend it's all in good fun, but it's not.
Yeah, Aaron is just another one of those guys who has, like, trolls remorse, and just because he got a taste of, like, the kind of bank you can make by pandering to, like, the tween audience, the, like, left-leaning kind of, like, soy audience. He ended up just becoming really soy.
Not fun. It's mean. It hurts. Unquote. Aaron goes on to say that this video only segregates. Fellow responded in surprise and stated he did not mean harm, and the last thing he wants to do is hurt. He even apologized if Aaron took it.
I even tried to imitate the style of animation to respect that. Yeah. Which is, like, pretty apparent.
That way, and states that he can explain every joke in the whole video. Besides the bullying reason, a different reason Aaron was displeased with this video is that he toured with some of the channels in Senior Pell's video, like—
Oh, okay. He was just offending his friends. Okay.
Jaden Animations. Not everyone was as nice as Bello when responding to Aaron, like Chris O'Neill, who stated, quote, Newgrounds made you, and is probably the place with the least hate you've ever gotten anywhere online.
Based. I'm gonna read the full thing. Newgrounds made you. He made you. I mean, he's not wrong, but, like... And it's probably the place with the least hate you've ever gotten anywhere online. And that's true, by the way, and yet he says he's, like... He just got bullied there. You say you don't read comments. Maybe that's why you think it's better. It's the internet. You laughed hard at SF Chode. I think that is, like, an animator. Or, like, an animation that was, like, really, like, obscene and, raunchy. I think it was, like... I don't remember, but apparently there was, like, an animation of, like, a woman getting, like, raped by a shark or something. It was something like that, and they thought it was the funniest shit ever. P.S. Palo's cartoon is just funny jabs. Christ almighty, grow up.
You say you don't read comments.
Oh, he's just gonna read it.
P.S. Palo's cartoon is funny jabs. Christ almighty, grow up. Unquote. A different animator known as SpazKid, who is friends with Chris and many other Newgrounds animators, also responded to Aaron, stating that Senior Bello's video was lighthearted and confusing if anything. SpazKid also—
Oh, like a weird fever dream, I can agree. I think you're overreacting and making this more about you than anything. Aaron, you used to make videos where you pretended to be special ed and also showed off your massive goiter.
refutes that Newgrounds was as toxic as Aaron depicts it, and that Tom, likely Tom Fulp, the founder of Newgrounds, has only ever wanted to support him, and that Aaron needs to, quote, stop pushing everyone away and wake up, unquote. Overall, Aaron's reaction was not well received. It was...
Sonic says... Sonic says, "This is mean. I got made fun of like this all the time when I make cartoons, and it fucking sucked. It didn't give me a thick skin or make me a better artist or make me think more about what I was doing. It just hurt. Thank you, Sonic. Thank you so much."
Was even turned into a meme on the Game Grumps subreddit. With word of Aaron's critical stance spreading, a resurgence of Aaron's old, not-so-advertising-friendly content began spreading to counter Aaron.
Yep.
That's why on August 1st, 2019, he posted 2 images of his statement,
opening
with acknowledging that he has appeared on the Twitter trending tab as a topic of conversation, and the clips of him saying controversial things in the past are spreading alongside it. He denounces his history and states he used to be an angry
Trolls remorse.
kid.
I was
Piss
just
and vinegar, anything goes.
I was just an angry 25-year-old kid.
Now he resents his former self and wants the young folk who look up to him to not want to think that, quote, using hurtful words and making hurtful jokes is okay.
Guys, it's
unquote.
mean.
This was Senor Bello's response to the drama, expressing a
Did you miss streaming talking shit at people? I did. It feels good. Just to shit talk people. Yes, I love it. I love the anger.
desire to move on.
Oh yes, yes. I love this so much. So Palo made this on Twitter in response. It's so based. So that's him with his video. That's Aaron with his "this is mean" comment. And then Aaron with his apology.
Aaron's approach to Senor Bello was not well received. This mishandling and or lack of understanding was the theme of 2019. From the garage sale, to his tweet about running an entertainment company, to all the other smaller things that happened in 2019. Aaron, the person who previously stumbled into success, was now choreographing failure, and Soviet Jump Game was no exception.
Oh god. Oh no, not this.
On November 16, 2019, Aaron kicked off a series of videos where he played imitation NES games. These are a mix of counterfeit and or modified cartridges that were distributed by anyone but Nintendo for the Dendy system, an unofficial Russian console that could play NES games and its own assortment of games, which were mostly Russian bootlegs of existing NES games.
Mitzi's up there.
Within the first video, Aaron plays Dendy games on a different console known as the Retron 5. This system can play far more than NES games and is somewhat of a catch-all for various retro consoles, except the Dendy. This is why the cartridges either did not work or were interpreted incorrectly. But there was one game that somewhat worked.
Okay. I don't know what this says. Apparently there's an error.
Oh god, Aaron was so boring by himself. He never had anything interesting. Like, Dan at least had very, like, interesting stories about his life, you know? And then Aaron was always just, like, so awkward by himself. Or, like, trying to force himself to be funny.
That's nice that there's like Dendy
Yeah, it was a hoax.
branding.
Which, like, compared to other things, it's not exactly the end of the world. At most, you could just chalk it up to, like, a botched ARG.
That's kind of cool.
But his acting job is so bad.
Able to proceed with whatever game this is, Aaron moves on. In the follow-up video, Aaron uses the original Dendy console and can play the bootleg games without
What is this weird, like, face cam thing that they're doing? The fuck?
issue, except for one.
Okay. Still has the error screen.
Alright.
Got the little elephant boy. And I don't know what it says or what it means, but let's move on to the next one.
Okay, great.
I kind of have to agree, Casper. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. I think that was the only time I was ever interested in anything he had to say. Like, by himself. It was interesting just to hear about his history with, like, animation and art, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But, other than that, no. Whereas with Dan, it was like a lot of people just found it like nice to just kind of listen to him, like, you know, quietly appreciate a game that he's loved for forever, you know? Like Kingdom whatever the fuck it's called.
By the third video, titled Lost Piece of Gaming History Uncovered, the ruse was up.
Hey Aaron, I saw the episode of Game Grumps about the Dendy games, that weird one you couldn't figure out, the one that I couldn't get past the, whatever the screen was that had like an X on it. It said it needed an internet adapter. I didn't know there was an internet adapter for the...
So you guys know this thing that I was trying to do? This is really weird. I know he's trying to, like, be casual about it, but it feels so scripted. I mean, it is, but that's kind of the point.
The Dendy.
For anyone familiar with retro consoles, especially those manufactured before the 2000s, knew that this was not what it seemed, and those familiar with ARGs or alternate reality games knew exactly what these videos were. ARGs are not easy to define. Put simply, they are media that presents itself as non-fiction. They offer a puzzle of sorts that can be solved through
I was gonna try to come up with something funny, but I'm not clever enough.
examination of footage
Ass
and
shit
largely
fart.
rely on the uncertainty and whether it is real, which spurs curiosity. But the end of this journey was
Ooh.
an ad
Oh,
campaign,
those are just lemons.
which some saw as unsatisfactory, especially for those that did not know what ARGs are.
Him and his team are getting close to being finished with this game, which we're now calling Soviet Jump Game, and we're gonna do like a pre-release to make sure everything's working, to make sure all the networking is working, because it's a 30-year-old game, and there's probably a lot of weirdness.
The
Guys,
trailer
I'm
for-
so excited to try to get this 30-year-old game to work, and it's so new and no one's ever heard of it. It's probably fake.
Soviet Jump Game released December 4th, 2019. The comments are a bit mixed. Quote,
Don't say that. That's mean, Clef. This is mean.
I literally remember thinking when I saw the quote-unquote documentary, haha, wouldn't it be funny if this was all just like a super elaborate plan to release a new game? For real though, this looks really fun, lol, unquote. A different comment reads, quote, I'm a little disappointed in myself for getting invested in this ad campaign, unquote. In January of 2020, Aaron released an apology of sorts while still participating in the ARG in a video where he gets kidnapped by the KGB.
Is it? I really don't think it's a big deal. Looking back, I really don't see why this was such a big controversy. Like, maybe you could argue that, like, it was too ahead of its time. People were not, I don't know. Or maybe their fan base is just stupid. They were like, I can't believe you would lie to us. This is mean. Aaron, I improved a lot as an actor. Weren't they? I remember they would tell stories about how they were actually, like, legitimately going to, improv classes.
Can't you at least admit you made a mistake in how you presented all this?
I wasn't aware of how it would come off, so yes, I guess I made a mistake in that way. And also, I think I made a mistake in not reprimanding people who were being mean to people who were just participating, or who didn't really know what was going on.
What?
But if I backpedal, then no one's going to be happy. Not the people who liked the bit, and not the people who wanted me to apologize. I really should have just announced this normally.
This is so dumb. This is some stuff that I've never seen before, and I'm really glad that I never did, and I'm sad that I have to now.
This was not the first game from the Grumps to be criticized for events outside of it, nor the only ARG Aaron used to market one of his products, like his book. A book that, as part of the ARG, claims his uncle wrote, and Aaron's mom is demanding that Aaron promote. With Aaron framing this as being disinterested in his uncle's project, but bending to family pressure. Twitter users were trying to come.
That was the thing that was a bit more insidious, I think. Like, he was banking on this idea that his parasocial fans would start speculating and making up conspiracies about, like, is Aaron's family abusing him? Is Aaron's family holding him hostage, or are they forcing him to do shit? You know, stuff like that. Which is dangerous when you already know that you have a fan base that are willing to go out and, like, stalk and dox and harass people over, like, video game walkthroughs or video game criticism. This was, like... this is, like, so, like... I don't even know. Yeah.
Comfort
yeah.
Aaron through understanding. Quote, sorry you're being forced to do something for a person you don't really care for. I know what it's like to have family members.
So, like, he was lying, saying that, like, his family was forcing him to promote his dead uncle's book or some shit like that. I don't know. Let's go back a little bit to get a better understanding.
Family pressure.
Hey, so my uncle wrote a book and my... Oh, okay, he's not dead. I don't know. So my uncle wrote a book and my mom is making me promote it. So here you go.
Twitter users were trying to comfort Aaron through understanding. Quote, sorry you're being forced to do something for a person you don't really care for. I know what it's like to have family members you don't really want to associate with. Unquote. This was the largest problem with this ARG. As with Soviet Chump Game, those unfamiliar with ARGs approached this with genuine concern, only to have their feelings betrayed. Even so, this ARG was not nearly as disliked as Soviet Chump Game, as it was...
I don't, like... Those are where it gets to, like... like, bad territories when you're, like... I don't know, like, even if his family was down for, like, being roped in like that, they were like, yeah, I'll play the abusive mother figure forcing my son to, like, use his channel to promote... I don't know what mom would be okay with that, but alright. It's just like... The thing is that you can clearly tell it's fake because they advertise it like this in the beginning of the video at the time. These guys are morons. Yeah, but his fans are idiots. They're young, parasocial, like, psychotic, obsessed idiots. That will go out of their way to harass people that criticize their beloved, like, Game Grumps hosts. Right? And so it's like... And you're knowingly putting your family in a position where they could be targeted by your fans who believe that this is real. Yeah, I know, Villa, right?
Was self-contained, meaning that it did not pique the interest of a larger crowd that has interest in lost media. That and this game was easily understood. It cued followers that this was an ARG, done in ways like this interview when Aaron interviewed his quote-unquote uncle.
Where do you get the inspiration for such a great and well-rounded three-dimensional characters?
Very good question. The characters were pulled from all walks of life in my
Is this just Sonic 3?
mind.
In the end, the book he was promoting is highly rated. The reviews are following along with the game by referencing Aaron's uncle rather than a critical review about the book. The same can be said for the other game
There's my
Grumps
example.
developed and
Lol. Fine. Whatever. I'll take the L. Whatever. I wasn't paying attention anyway. Fuck them. I still dislike Aaron, though.
game Dream Daddy. Quote, where you play as a dad and your goal is to meet and romance other hot dads.
Wow.
Are you ready? Hi, I'm Dad. Unquote. It is impossible to break down the fallout around this game accurately.
Oh my god.
There are those that want this story to die following the wishes of those involved. But not exactly, because their wishes were to get the story correct and not report it in a manner used to fan the flames of a separate existing fire.
But this is going to be here for you guys if you want to watch it, if you need to be informed.
So yeah, this is Ding Dong, Julian, who, by the way, are both gay. And so, they had criticisms for a gay pandering game, which I think is valid. You know.
You need a better understanding. Leave people alone on this. Aaron, I had mentioned in the previous stream, no, I don't like him. I don't like a lot around like his behavior, but at the same time, as much as people want him to be the big target, Aaron was pretty disconnected from a lot of this. Some of these decisions were coming from other ends and not really his own.
That was Ding Dong, an ex-employee of the game Grumps and former co-host of Only Plays, stating how Aaron is largely detached from Dream Daddy. That is because viewers were using this Dream Daddy fiasco to hate Aaron, and that is why it is important to...
He didn't really go in depth of what the Dream Daddy fiasco is. Is he going to get into it? If not, I will. Because there is some, like, more details that should be mentioned that I think are important to know.
Clarified that Aaron was hardly involved. So what is the Dream Daddy
Okay. Alright. Okay. God damn it.
controversy? That starts around 2016.
The amount of times that this shit happens to me. It's becoming a problem.
Vernon came to me one day and said, I have an idea. I want to make a dad dating simulator where you're a dad trying to romance other dads.
Maybe I'm just too smart.
And I was like, I love that. Yes.
By Vernon, Aaron means Vernon Shaw, a former Maker employee who now works at the game Grumps. This game had a development time of approximately a year. According to Ding Dong, there was chatter in the office displeased at the game's development. The writing felt underwhelming in the sense that it captured a superficial gay experience.
Yep.
Allegedly, the promoting
What is the authentic gay experience?
of the game felt that its representation was being used to deride other games. It was this and Ding Dong's own complaints as a gay man that hadn't come forward with these complaints.
From my end, seeing everything, knowing everything about it, it just comes off as nothing but exploitation. Exploitation of the game industry, exploitation of the gay community, exploitation in terms of that audience, hoping to prey on teens, the Tumblr crowd, all of that. That's all it reads as to me.
I wouldn't use the word preying on teens. I probably wouldn't use that verbiage. That might be a little extreme.
I've watched as it's been made. I've talked to people involved with it. I've witnessed it. I understand what it is.
Being that was in 2017, the time that Super Mega were still part of Game Grumps, Matt Watson of Super Mega gave Ding Dong access to an early build, which is where Ding Dong is drawing his criticisms from, and how it was allegedly being advertised as.
I don't like that a bigger gap gets to be created because people who are involved with this get to act so nasty about it and put down like, oh, so straight white males. It's like, come on. This is just, especially when it applies to you, that sort of thing should not be a mentality.
Yeah, you could argue that Ding Dong's criticisms are not warranted, or they're harsh, or like exaggerated or overblown, but it's not like dox him and out him to his family worthy.
Going in with that, you should be focusing on trying to just create something empowering if that's what you want to do.
In these now deleted tweets, Ding Dong states that after he came out with the complaints, none of his fellow employees backed him up, as he later explains in more detail.
We talked to a bunch of people, and one employee specifically even showed us a gigantic email of all these things that he wanted to bring up. We got told later he didn't even send it. Maybe he did, but I got told he didn't send it. I would have believed it because, yeah, we got turned around on by, like, everybody.
It was not just the fact that he was betrayed by those now staying silent, but it was also the intensity of the harassment that he endured afterwards that made this all awful. Quote, "It'd be an understatement to say that day didn't affect me. My cell phone number got leaked, people were insisting when to reinstall the game and were lying. Extended family was being contacted, friends turned their backs on me. It felt like everything was over."
Yeah, so his cell phone number got leaked. People were harassing his family members as well. And I recall at some point he had said that people were like outing him as gay to family members as well, like forcefully outing him and shit like that.
Unquote.
You know, who actually showed us what was actually happening there, because for the longest time the narrative kind of was like, okay, I guess these two guys were just really erratic and they decided to just want to say stuff about this and like ruin their lives needlessly and throw themselves under, but no, it's because behind the scenes we were having people continuously bring it up to us. I wouldn't have cared about it at all.
Yeah, from what I understand, it was like people behind the scenes or working at the company had their own complaints about Dream Daddy, and I guess they were like venting about it to Ding Dong and Julian. And maybe some of them were like, yeah, someone should really say something about it, but I'm too scared to. Just shit like that.
The fact that I was seeing it hurting people, and on Julian's end, it was making Julian cry. We would get home and he would be miserable just knowing that everybody at this office is just not able to say anything or do anything here. And while it was a betrayal...
Sounds soy to me, but go off.
Not the kind that people really thought it was. Did it lead to a lot of bad stuff? Oh, absolutely. I mean, I tried to kill myself the day after.
Jesus
Julian
Christ!
Had to stop me, and I'm glad he did.
Julian was also part
I forgot that part.
of When He Plays and is Ding Dong's boyfriend. This audio is from a 2022 stream.
Actually, I think that they didn't stay boyfriends, if I'm not wrong. I think that now they're just roommates, I think.
Stream where Ding Dong talked about what he went through. There was also 2 later 2023 streams done. One was with Julian that will also be shown.
The casual, yeah, I plan to kill myself. Yeah.
A lot happened over the holiday season. We didn't have a very good Christmas, obviously, and neither did we have a good New Year's. I'm no longer talking to my mom. She took pleasure in a lot of the abuse she did to me when I was younger, so I finally just told her off.
The harassment from fans, being outed as gay to his family, the stressors of the betrayal from his coworkers. What made it all worse is how much of this was sourced from them.
And this is like, reminder, like the people that were doing this shit were people that were mad at him because he was criticizing a game about being gay, and these are supposed to be like the like accepting, like, social activist people that care about the LGBT community so much. And then those same people went around and did this. Like, trying to destroy his life and, forcefully out him to an abusive family. Oh, they're still together? Okay. Like, as a couple? Oh, I thought it was, like, kind of complicated. Like, they were dating and then they were like, oh, let's just be roommates. You know, that sort of thing. I don't know.
I'm not kidding with this shit. Some of the 4chan threads, you want to know who made them? Somebody that we actually know. People near us. People who actually did want to sabotage us and ensure no one would ever fucking listen.
Your phone number was impossible to have gotten out.
Yes.
That had to have come from somebody on the inside.
That's why when someone was trying to insist recently, the new narrative is, I think it was his stalker. No, do you know how my phone number got out? Somebody very direct that we knew did it. And I'm thinking of 3 specific people who it could have been. But honestly, at this point, I'll say...
Yeah, basically, Villa.
I think I know exactly who it was. Because they were responsible for a lot of this behind the scenes. I was getting warnings since the beginning that it was even happening. That sometimes at the office it was happening. That they were noticing that in the web history things were getting posted and being used.
Ding Dong does not specify who this employee was. That's why fans and anti-fans twisting the narrative to be against those who they oppose made it all worse for Ding Dong. That and bad actors were using this story to be predatory.
No, fans made a Discord.
I think the only reason why he didn't, like, name them is because he had no direct evidence. Like, it would only be, like, testimony and hearsay. So he could have, like, been... What are we talking about, Hassan? What?
Or quote-unquote fans made a Discord, and then started trying to advertise it in streams, and eventually when we caught on to it, we had people who were in it then sending us DMs telling us, hey, there's illegal shit going on here. They're trying to, like, make timelines. They're trying to figure out, like, how they can hurt you more. And not only that, but they're preying on, like, younger people who are in your chat. And they were.
Whoa!
And they got reported.
Reflecting on the initial complaints about Dream Daddy and what it ballooned out into makes the initial situation seem small.
It was as straightforward as we were working at the office. People were getting frustrated by this game because they felt it was performative. They felt like there wasn't a lot of effort actually legitimately going into it. They felt like it was just supposed to be, you know, kind of a tool for PR because they were paying a lot of money on PR at the time. There was a lot of complaints about how things were being divided out in the office, all the stuff, all these different complaints. And the funny thing is, looking back on all of it, I don't even take most of it as legitimate now. I just take it as a thing that people were just kind of complaining for the sake of complaining.
Ding Dong has expressed multiple times to not be bothered and not to weaponize his story.
Yeah.
He refrains from naming the exact people he suspects are responsible and makes note of the density.
Like, from what I understand, Ding Dong got kind of dramatic about it and was, like, beefing with people who were, like, you know, using the story as drama, which I guess is fair, but it's like, if you're gonna make streams on it and complain about it publicly and like, complain and talk about it, it's gonna be made into drama. There's, like, trying to soy out about it and trying to, like, go after people talking about it, treating it like it's drama is, like, it's just gonna make the problem worse. So I think a lot of people dislike him for that, which is fair. Because, you know, once it's out, it's out.
Of the information that is lacking.
If you guys are going to try to do detective work, I promise you, you're not going to go in the right direction at all.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot happened. Yes, even more happened than stuff that I discussed during that 15-hour stream than here. If I was ever going to go over with someone just how much we went through, it would take probably, like, days.
And, like, I don't recall, and he might go into it, but okay, I'll hold off on saying anything until after.
That 15-hour stream is not available. Even the streams that are archived are cut down or cut off the fuller stream.
Oh.
When creator Bo Blacks made a video
Yep,
on Matter
here
while
we go.
playing sections of the already cut down stream uncontested, Ding Dong left a comment on how Bo Blacks' video is clickbait, and that Ding Dong said he did not want a re-upload that was specifically heavily condensed as it was in Bo Blacks' video. In a follow-up comment, Ding Dong pins Rant Grumps as a source of misinformation. It appears
fair.
Ding Dong later deleted his comments, though they remain archived in this video, which exposes
It seems like Ding Dong is a little, like when it comes to this, I mean, it's fair. It just seems like he was being highly emotional and impulsive. Which, I mean, it was a volatile time for him. I don't blame him. But yeah, vultures are gonna be vultures.
big issue in the matter, in that those that do want to get a deep dive and want to understand but cannot, because the 15-hour stream is not up. There only exist snippets of the story which are cut down streams that Ding Dong denounces. Some commenters point this out. Quote, I agree that Ding Dong in that sensationalizing situations and pointing figures without knowing the full story is a big problem and makes things worse. Where I think he messed up is admitting he is withholding critical information that he
Yeah.
may never release to the public. That will all
I mean, he just went about it the wrong way. I can understand why some details you don't want to go public on because you don't have enough evidence to prove it, maybe. It's like shitty that it happened to him, but like, yeah. It felt like he was always constantly on the fence about what he did and didn't want to talk about. The EFAP? I don't even know who EFAP is.
also
I
make
hear
the
them
situation
mentioned, but I don't
worse,
even know who they are.
as he's creating the idea that whatever the public doesn't know is truly damning, which breeds speculation. Both sides are making a toxic environment where everyone involved is being hurt, which can only be fixed by someone pulling the trigger and telling all, which no one wants to do. There will be a wave of backlash to someone, but then people can finally have closure and move on.
Oh, okay.
I love Ding Dong to death, but he really should have just named names if he didn't want people trying to figure out who he was talking about.
Yeah, but the issue with that is that, again, if you don't have enough if you don't have enough info to back up the names that you're naming, like if you're gonna start naming names, you'd better have evidence for the claims that you're making, right? And I doubt that he had a lot of like damning evidence to back up the stuff that he was saying. I'm inclined to believe him if he were to say shit, you know, but that opens him up to like not only further harassment but also a possible lawsuit if he were to just start naming names and making accusations with no proof.
Just let it all out instead of getting mad about people trying to know who he was even talking about. The only name
Yeah, but on the same, you can't like just keep getting butthurt about people speculating. You just have to let people speculate because they're gonna do that.
in person was Matt, and he apparently, quote-unquote, did the least. Unquote. There is not much that can be said without that 15-hour stream, only that its cut-down variants have been used maliciously in the past. This is partly the result of a very split community of those obsessed with the game Grumps and Aaron Hansen. Fans and anti-fans can be quite expressive and ignorant of each other's perspectives. But if anything is true, it is that the game Grumps tend to harbor a very infamous audience.
Yep.
You know what? I gotta tell you something. Aaron's a chill guy. I like him. I do. But I want to tell you something else. And I get it. There's not a lot of people watching Epic Mealtime in 2022, but the people that watch Game Grumps.
EFAP is a podcast where YouTubers like Mauler, Rags, Fringy, and other content creators hang out to criticize media but also make response videos. Oh, okay.
Fucking suck.
That was Harley of Epic Mealtime at the Critter Clash conference, where the matchup was not entirely even.
You got your rowboat! Nice.
Harley weighs in today at 276.8 pounds.
You might have to
Aaron
spawn it
weighs
further
today
out
at
in the water.
214.4 pounds.
Oh, there we go, there we go, there we go.
Aaron lost this fight. Apparently, the medic called the fight when Aaron wanted to keep on going. It was for a charity event, so it does make sense in a way. This happened in 2022. The only other major controversy around this time was Dan being exposed. The tweet exposing him starting with
Dan being exposed is really vague.
the trigger warning, grooming, pedophilia. It took just 2 days for the user to walk this back. While Dan did sleep with a fan, she was not underage.
That's wild. Accusing someone of pedophilia when you're 18.
She was 22, and the main grievance was that he used her for sex and then discontinued communication. As for the channel, Game Grumps, it has been falling in views since its peak. going from around getting 60 million in 2018 to 20 million in 2022 to where it has settled somewhat.
Where we're at right now in terms of like how much we're making, how many views we're getting, what our staff is, I'm very happy with.
Yeah. You also have a very dedicated fan base. I would say like game.
The Lio. Everybody in the chat's like, Lio made a video? Lio said he was gonna make a video on Enlaa. I don't know why. Well, apparently it's like some Nyx, like the stuff about Nyx and Jackie, I guess. But I said this in the Discord, I might as well say it here. If he is making a video, unless there's like really serious shit that like in the video that needs to be addressed, like some accusations or serious accusations, unless there's shit like that in it, I'm not gonna respond, because it's pointless to respond. Not only is it a Lio video, and I've never liked Lio videos, but I know he's doing it like to try and get my attention. Because he's been trying to goad me into beefing with him for like a year now. And I'm just not interested. I think the last time I did any, like, a dedicated Lio stream on anything was like the debate between him and Kumo. And that was way back in June. And since then, I've only been complaining on, like, in Discord. Because I didn't out-nerf. Oh, is that what his video's about? Okay, and he'd just be treading old ground again. That's what he'd be doing. But yeah, I'd be lying if I said I was interested, and I'm not. If he wants to continue being mad because I shat on him a year ago, he can do that. Did you see Vlad's video on Toastify? Yes. And I also saw that Beckett didn't react to it, which was strange, to say the least, but that's all I'll say about it. We have other things we're talking about today.
Grumps there's a lot of people online who have to get a lot more than you have, a lot more eyes on their
Effort, Enlaa's weakness. Dude, I slept through the entire Lio drama last year. I barely did anything and he's still mad about it.
Than you have to make it their job. But you only have to have a very dedicated fan base that's at a much smaller number to survive, and you guys have like a very, very dedicated fan base.
Game Grumps has a unique fan base because the channel is unique. It boasts the most
That's kind of circular logic, isn't it? The fan base is unique because the channel is unique. Okay. That's not really circular, it's just dumb.
Let's Plays down from the commentary to the game selection. It does not have to be more than what it is. But it is harder to find any Let's Play channel that has been as consistent as the Game Grumps.
And define consistency.
Approach of daily upload.
There's a very thin line between consistency and stale.
Is unlike any other Let's Play channel on the platform. Simply put, other group Let's Play channels grow exhausted of one another. The repetition of the work, the complaints of approaches to games, turning a passion into a job are all things that lead to burnout. And though the Grumps had no doubt struggled with these, they have pressed on. As a reward and consequence, they have built a very attached fanbase that is as dedicated to watching their daily uploads as the Grumps are in producing them.
In my opinion, the only reason that they're still successful is because they've managed to hook the type of audience that will get obsessed with them. Like, unhealthily obsessed. And that's why they're still successful, because they have people that are watching because they think that they have some kind of deep interpersonal connection to them as people, rather than just seeing them as entertaining.
So much viewing, there becomes points where less favorable qualities are abstracted. Aaron's complaining comes to mind. His dislike of popular series such as Legend of Zelda or Sonic, which for a period he was an ambassador for, before getting removed from that position.
So if any of you at home are wondering if your voice makes a difference, it does. Whenever they would post something with me in it, and all the comments on Twitter were like, "What the fuck? Aaron hates Sonic. Fuck you, Sega." They saw them.
This is what one very small section of it that dislikes him for his critiques can do. Then there are those that dislike him due to the JonTron era of Game Grumps. Even though John was in Game Grumps for less than a year, in a channel that has existed for more than a decade. There are still videos being made that go into extreme depths in analyzing the real reason John left the Game Grumps. There is still a large amount of people
I feel like that's a waste of time. Who cares what the original reason was? I'm about to say something. I was about to say something really controversial. You know, he didn't even talk about Susie all that much and the stuff that she was saying on Twitter. Susie had a bit of a mean girl streak on Twitter, on like a private Twitter account.
Not a satisfactory answer. Then there is the socio-political nature of their relationship. From JonTron's now near 8-year-old
socio-political debate
to Aaron's hedged response to it. Expanding on that is his critical nature of those that use slurs, while he was one of those people that did so in the past. But there's also him being critical of himself for doing so. Then there is
I mean, it's fine to, like, grow up and realize, like, oh, I don't believe that stuff anymore, or I'm not into that kind of humor anymore, or, like, I used to think this was okay, and now I don't think this is okay. That's fine. But when you start, like, attacking people that are doing the same things that you used to do, and you're attacking their character and making it out like they're unforgivable people, when you have also done the same thing, and then you're expecting people to forgive you when you're not gonna lend that same courtesy and that same kindness to other people who are doing the same shit as you and who might be in the same position that you feel like you were in at the time. It's like, have a little fucking empathy, have a little bit of understanding for people that might be going through the same process that you had to go through to get where you are in life. You know? And it's like, it's people like that who operate like that, where it's like, because they've changed and they've, like, become a different person, they expect the entire world to change with them. And people who haven't changed or are in the same position they were in don't deserve to be forgiven, but they are expecting forgiveness for their sins. I don't know, man. It's just people like that that irk me.
And
that's why Aaron, iDubbbz, people like that, they specifically get on my nerve.
Dislike of him in
my
some
nerves,
sections of the animation
plural.
community. The Sir Pello controversy brings the question if there is something
Sir Pello. It's okay, we all make that mistake.
causing a deeper divide. But at minimum, it was not through Dream Daddy. As Ding Dong
I agree, Toybox. I'd rather, like, talk about stupid shit like this. Although there was, you know, a couple of things in there.
clarified, Aaron was virtually not involved, but this expands on another issue. In that the game Grumps are criticized, many will picture Aaron as he is the largest cog in the machine. This is what it takes to explain only some aspects of why Aaron is disliked.
It's because he got a taste of that LA lifestyle. And all, like, the schmoozing and stuff that comes with it. And, like, just the LA attitude and, like... He just, like, I think Aaron's the kind of guy who always had an ego, hence the name, Ego Raptor. But, like, he never really had the means to flex that ego until now, you know? I don't know what they're doing nowadays in, like, the year of our Lord, 2025. I don't know what they're doing now. When I stopped watching them, I completely purged them from my recommended. I barely ever get their shit anymore. So you're saying Aaron should do the opposite of what you said. Got it. On my way to get successful. Wait, what? I'm confused. You're confusing me on purpose, Clef. Fuck you. Can't wait till you get Troll's Remorse and you start sewing out. Yeah, I think there are people that are just sort of dispositioned to be like this. Like, if they get an inch of power or an inch of, like, authority over people, I think that they just have that ego to them where it's like, where they feel like they were, I know I'm kind of, like, psychoanalyzing right now, but it's like, they feel like they were mistreated in the past by people in power. And it's like they almost feel like they are trying to give back what they were given, like as a form of, like, catharsis. It's like when people are like, well, big corporations take advantage of me and my money all the time, so why shouldn't I steal this TV from Walmart while there's a riot happening? Because I feel like Big Corpo fucked me over, so why don't I fuck Big Corpo over? You know, that sort of logic. But then when you do that shit, it just kind of, like, feeds into the cycle. I think it's just kind of like the bullied becomes the bullied. I'm not even sure if he was bullied, just based on what I've seen. I think he was always kind of a bully. I've seen Enlaa get power. It's frightening. I've relinquished that power. I've turned over a new leaf. I am no longer a dictator. I've reformed. I did a Hitler and moved to Argentina peacefully and lived out a quiet, peaceful life while everyone thought I was dead. Which totally happened, guys. I swear on my life it happened. Endless Hitler? Well, I know some people in here have compared me to Hitler. Left? Guys, we went the wrong way. Now we gotta go back. Endless lying she's still abusing us, send help. No one's ever gonna know. Who's gonna know? No one will know. Hitler.
There are many
Shut
different
up!
feelings that are not leveled. Even the Rank Grump subreddit struggles with its intensity. It is not easy to boil down this anti-fandom, especially when their only unifying aspect is their varying degrees of disliking the game Grumps.
Yeah.
While subreddits like these are meant to highlight failures, the game Grumps are a complete success. Aaron and Dan have created what will possibly be, if it's not already, the longest-lasting consistent gameplay duo.
I mean, that's fair. They've been going for over 12 years now. And it's like, good on them, you know? I mean, they've been pretty controversy-free for a couple of years now, as far as I know. It's like, whatever. It's like you go through that phase where you're just like, I don't care anymore. After, like, in the beginning, you're angry, you want to see them fail, but then, like, a couple months go by and you're just like, you know what? I don't even care anymore. And you start to wonder why you ever cared to begin with. It'd be so funny if Lio included this in his video on you. Who cares? Oh, you mean the Hitler thing. Thought you meant, like, the 20-minute rambling session I went on just now.
Aaron's
Am I even
transition
allowed to
from
go over
becoming
here?
a voice actor, animator, to settling on Let's Player gives him room to fulfill other creative outlets like his music. This is a demonstration of his talents and a range and a wonder of what's to come. To that, one thing is certain. As long as the game Grumps exist, so will the fans and the anti-fans. Only
Wow,
one
what a bold statement. So long as the game Grumps exists, their fans will exist. Truer words were never spoken from the great philosophers of today, in this day and age.
section of the audience knows entirely that the other exists.
Wise words from a wise man.